Hey everyone, welcome back to Rally Caps. It's a podcast for artists, entrepreneurs, and everybody in between. I'm Steven.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Gene.
And today we got all three of us on the show to talk about a really cool idea that Eric came up with for today's episode. As you've probably guessed from the title of today's episode.
And probably the clickbait thumbnail.
Probably the clickbait thumbnail also. Whoops. Sorry.
Hey, YouTube.
Hey.
Oh, we keep referencing, I'm sorry.
YouTube?
I keep referencing that the show's only on YouTube.
It's everywhere, but it is also on YouTube, which is really exciting. So if you're watching here, right here.
And
hi.
hello.
Hope that didn't mess up the autofocus. Cyrus, if you want to check that, actually, that would be great. But yeah, if you didn't know, if you've been a long-time listener of the show, we do have a visual version of the show on YouTube, which has been very fun. Been putting a lot of time and effort into making it look and feel a lot better, including more like visual assets as well, which is really fun. But going back to the topic of today's episode, Eric, what are we chatting about?
Namely, YouTubers.
YouTubers.
Our favorite ones.
How meta is that? That's awesome.
Wait, no, it's YouTube.
Oh, sorry. It's Google.
Google.
Jujul. We've talked about King's English on here before, no?
We haven't, but we'll save that for the seventh inning stretch at the end of the episode, if people stick around for that. Today we are each bringing three of our current favorite YouTubers or YouTube channels. Doesn't have to be a personality necessarily, but a channel that we've been really enjoying. So each of us have three. We did not look at each other's lists before we started, so there might be some crossover. And that's totally fine. I also have some honorable mentions that I'll kick in at the very end. But who wants to start? I'm really interested to hear. You're not starting. Dang it.
And then it's you, and then it's me.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I will kick things off with...
I feel like you guys are going to do yours, and then I won't have a list.
I'm going to start... Here's what I'm going to do.
I guarantee you guys that I don't watch the same stuff you guys watch.
Yeah,
I know
just watch
for
credit
sure.
cards.
I just watch weird... No.
And NBA.
No, I guarantee you my top 10, you guys do not watch.
I'm going to lead with my first one, actually, because I think it's the one that we most share in common. My other two... You all have never heard of it for sure. But
I believe that.
Yeah, no, I tried to go a little, this is genuine. Whoa.
Yeah.
Did you sniff your coffee? I tried to go a little more, this is very representative of how I actually just watch stuff on YouTube, because it's not what we typically would talk about at the studio. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to start with the one that makes us stop what we're doing in order to watch. Mr. Preston Goes. Yeah, Preston Summerall. Yeah. Was on your list?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It had to be. I'm going to say that one actually as a blanket one, and I'm going to include a different one as my third, and just say this is like a way we can start as like common ground, someone that we're all really enjoying, because I think it's unfair for one of us to talk about him because we all love him so much.
Sure.
I meant that literally when I said we would stop what we're doing when we see him upload, and we usually will have like studio lunch together and watch his latest episode of whatever he's up to. He's the best. He was recently on Colin Samir. Awesome. Which is
I didn't
really
watch the
cool.
episode, but yeah.
It's excellent. It's very good. It's very cool to see him outside of the context of his own channel, and to see him kind of put more on the spot as the interviewee, which I think is interesting rather than the one leading the charge of whatever's happening.
Yeah.
It was such a good episode. I think that was like 2 weeks ago or something along those lines, but he is extremely wholesome. He's just so kind. He's got when people say, oh, that person has golden retriever energy, he's the epitome of that. It's just, he's so effervescent and kind, and we could go on and on and on praising what he does, but what does he actually do?
Well, you could go watch Colin Samir to get the full breakdown, but they defined him as, it was pinpoint accurate. It was like a combination of Ryan Trahan and Bo Burnham. Mm-hmm. And the reason they say that is because a lot of his production quality is very lo-fi. Mm-hmm. It's not like overly produced. And then he also makes music inside of the videos that are unique and fully produced by himself, which is hysterical.
Yes.
So, yeah, that is just a recipe. I guess Ryan could be on my list as well. I didn't put him down because I felt like he's too similar to Preston. And Preston has been ranking higher for me, and how excited I am. But it's the combination of storytelling, and he's really kind of put himself inside this niche of a person who is making or inventing something who has no business doing so.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's the story of what happens in that journey. with a musical score. That's so funny.
It's brilliant. I lose my mind every time he cuts back to him in his office playing the recorder. It's the funniest thing. You just can't not laugh. I mean, it's extremely relatable, and he's so. I think the cool thing is building off of the kind of builder who shouldn't be building things. Yeah. He's so transparent about his mistakes. Yeah. And that's what makes him so likable and relatable. You're like, oh, I would have no idea how to start welding if I just went to the store and got welding stuff. I don't even know what it's called. Like, you just show up and he's like, I'll just figure it out now and hope I don't kill myself and just make this thing work.
The time he like put the torch on and forgot to have the mask on.
Just blinded. He was like, oh my God. Looking at the sky. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think he's probably the most feel-good personality that the three of us enjoy on
He's
YouTube.
so positive too.
Yes. Even when things are going totally sideways, he's still, which I'm sure behind the scenes, there's legitimate frustration at stuff versus what gets shown.
I honestly don't know though, because he films so much of it. And he even admitted in the most recent episode we watched that he has this strange ability to just be so positive in the most frustrating situations.
Oh, with the, was that the fake motorcycle? The engine. The engine.
Put more engines.
Put more engines. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, we could, I think, wax on for an entire episode about him. Go watch him. We're gonna link all the channels that we were talking about in the show notes or the description on YouTube, so you can go check all these people out. He's the best. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to say about him?
He's hilarious. Yeah, he does series too, which is really fun. Like that train one we watched in the studio. Anyways, definitely. Entertaining is how I describe his channel.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people are just really hungry for that kind of stuff now because it is actual story, but it's not as aggressive as Mr. Beast's. There's like no crazy high stakes or a ton of money, or it's just a very approachable, relatable person. And I think of someone like Eric, like doing YouTube,
right?
Which Preston's good friends with Eric, but it's not that every single video needs to one up the next, but more of just a different adventure every time. I feel like when you can build a brand like that on YouTube, your audience will just balloon and balloon and balloon. Not to say the other people don't, they do. Yep. But the audience gets so committed to who you are and what you're trying to do. They're rooting you on more than they're interested in whatever you're doing.
Totally.
Because they know no matter what it is, I'm going to enjoy the process. I have no interest in seeing how someone puts a motor on a bicycle. But watching Preston do it's going to be hysterical.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's I think an excellent point that makes him even more human and more relatable is the fact that so far, I mean, he's done ridiculous things, but it's not spending millions of dollars per video type ridiculous. It's very grounded.
It was so reassuring and cool to hear him on Colin and Samir and then get to a place where they said, oh, if I have to give away 5 to 10% of my company so that I can have more time with my wife, it was like, whoa. It feels like there's this paradigm shift happening on the platform or people like Preston who are seeing that crazy exponential success really quickly go, is this worth it? He's like, my friendships are struggling. I don't have any friends. My wife's making friends in LA. I don't have any here because I'm always editing. What's it going to look like in the next section of doing this where I can actually start outsourcing a little bit more, to really kind of turn it into a business? That's where it's really exciting because I don't think they were talking to Jimmy specifically or about him, but they kind of were. It was like, you don't have to always just pour all the money right back in and like at whatever cost grow exponentially even more. Because you zoom out and you're like, okay, well, why did you actually do this in the first place? Yeah. So not to get too philosophical, but even like it spoke to me on a personal front because it feels like I'm going through that now on a much smaller scale, much more middle class YouTube scale.
Yeah. You only spent $1 million on your last video.
So. 1 million cents.
Well, that's
money.
Do the math. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't want to.
Okay.
It's 100,000. $100,000. No, $100,000.
It's 100 Bitcoin.
It's whoa.
No.
That's worth something now.
100th of a Bitcoin.
At what point in time?
Yeah, it's ever changing as I'm talking right now.
This morning or right now?
And it changed. Yeah.
So go watch Preston's videos, and Preston, this is your formal invitation to come on Rally Caps. Come hang out in Chicago. Well, hey, if we think of a ridiculous video to do that's based around like Lake Michigan or something in Chicago, come on out. We'll make it happen. Film it. Do it
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of me listening to that was like, what if we just pitch him on like, hey, full production crew?
Here's the whole concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. We won't make it look too good though.
Yeah.
We'll make it
lo-fi.
Yeah, lo-fi.
We'll shoot all of it on iPhone.
Yeah, with moment lenses. Yeah. That'll be our little touch.
Gosh.
Not sponsored.
No, definitely not. Awesome. Gene, you're up next.
Okay.
Are we gonna like cycle through?
Yes, I think we should. Yeah.
Okay. That's
yeah.
good.
There's if you look at my YouTube,
which I do every day,
homepage, it's changed a lot over the past year. I don't watch nearly as much like photography, filmmaking stuff as I used to, and I fill it more with stuff I'm like interested in as far as hobbies, so like coffee, credit card, stuff like that, or just like pure entertainment. And so the first one for me is a channel called Top Jaw.
Top Jaw. Okay.
Yeah. There are these
TOPJAW. Cool.
Top
There are these
jaw
guys-
or top draw?
Top Jaw.
Jaw.
Yeah.
Top.
Jaw.
But the jaw's on the bottom. Why is it called that, Gene?
I don't know actually.
Top Jaw.
I
What
don't
does
know, it's
Top
called
Jaw do?
So they're a channel that focuses on highlighting like specifically restaurants. It's they're based in the UK, I think in London. But it's two guys. One guy, he's the filmmaker, but they do this thing where they put a GoPro facing him on the camera. So they cut to his angle a lot, where it's like, and you can see him like monitoring audio. But so they're like him and the guy who's basically running the show. They're interacting together, and they're hilarious. But the reason why I like it is not because I'm a foodie, but their shooting style is very fun. It's very upbeat, very chaotic, and it's like you're watching a TV show.
I'm looking at it right now.
They're incredible.
This looks really cool.
Incredible. Like colorful. They highlight.
I've seen you watch them.
Yeah, they highlight like big restaurants, Michelin restaurants, like hole in the walls, cafes, bakeries, like New York, Europe, everything. So it's I stumbled on them like I want to say at the end of last year.
Okay.
And I binged their videos, and they don't post too frequently.
Yeah.
But it's been really fun to. It's just like their narrative abilities are very fun, and very different from the things that I've consumed for years, as far as like slow and like super like drawn out. This is very quick, very fast. Okay. Unlike TikTok necessarily, but yeah, I've been watching them a lot.
It looks like they're pretty long videos too, like 15 to 20 minutes a piece. Do they maintain that pace the entire time?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
But they post looks like every 2 weeks.
Not as frequently anymore.
Like a huge break.
Yeah, they used to post frequently, and then
maybe
they
like
don't post
2 or 3
very
times
often.
a month.
Yeah,
or 2 a month.
I'll drop what I'm doing to watch their videos when they post.
So they are at that level where you're like, this is an instant watch for me. Okay.
Do you feel like your consumption on YouTube is much more like a Netflix?
Yeah, I definitely like.
You're picking and choosing as opposed to just allowing algorithm to serve you something?
Kind of. I treat YouTube a lot now like an audiobook. So a lot of times, like when I'm in the gym, I'm not even like watching it anymore.
Yep.
So that's where I consume a lot of like coffee and credit card stuff is when I'm in the gym.
Yep.
I'm not even watching the videos anymore. I'm just listening to it because a lot of these people don't have podcasts.
Yeah.
But yeah, YouTube like consumption for me has changed a lot over the past year or two, especially in the past 6 months when I started like not making videos. It definitely changed how I consume it.
So then that begs the question: you have YouTube Premium, then? Yeah.
I was just about to say that's a huge benefit of Premium.
It's so worth it to me.
Just listen.
Yeah.
Which I do frequently.
Or like if you're going from your laptop to your iPad to your phone, it still just auto populates where you left off. It's really nice.
Which is nice. Yeah. Often in the car is kind of like where I'll treat it like an audiobook.
Same.
Me too.
Really nice.
Yeah.
That's very cool. I like that.
And you can kind of imagine what's happening as you're listening to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if there's something you really want to see, you like check in on it later in the day.
Yeah.
That's
like,
what I'll do.
I need to see what that looked like.
That was. Yeah.
Sometimes I'll like stop what I'm doing if I'm like in the gym or at home, and then I'll like pull up my screen to see what
like
they're talking about.
Yeah.
But like, most times like I am just usually listening to YouTube now, which is really strange.
That's odd. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. I like that a lot. That feels very we know of you that feels very true to who you are. But I think the real fun thing about this episode is that I think these channels that we enjoy will reveal a lot about our interests outside of what people might associate with us from a Instagram, YouTube kind of meta relationship. So you're up, Eric. What's your first one?
Well, it was Preston.
It was Preston, yeah.
There's only really 2 now where I'll stop and everything to watch.
Okay.
It's Preston and then Gox.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
Gox
that's a great one.
is mine.
Yep.
For this round, I guess.
Sick, yep.
And I think that just has to do with the frequency in which they post and what you're pretty much guaranteed to receive if you watch it. But the dichotomy of watching, so before I get into that, who Gox is, I don't even know Gox's name.
Oh
my gosh, I don't either, actually.
Maybe he doesn't say.
No, I think his name is posted somewhere.
You keep going. I'll see if I can find it. Yeah.
A lot of people do like reviews of his channel too.
I'm going to the Music Bed Lake House in July, and there's a chance he'll be there at the same time, so I might be able to meet him. But he's just an unbelievable artist, and a lot of people throw the word artist around these days, but he's like the true, in my opinion, definition of what most people would define as a classic artist. He's a wildly gifted painter, illustrator,
everything,
filmmaker, audio engineer. It's
photography. He does a lot of stuff.
It's so clear that his artistic ability is just a copy and paste over any medium he picks up. Like he will treat it with the same level of intensity and quality. So when it comes to his filmmaking, it's just so unbelievably planned and intentional, and so clearly shot over like an entire month. And just for a 12-minute video, 10-minute video. And a lot of times it's around some sort of physical piece of art he's making, whether that's on a wall or a digital rendering that he turns into a print or whatever. But he has these catchphrases and go-to lines that are hysterical. And what's so interesting about him is I don't think there's ever a point where he's actually talking to camera in his films.
He mouths voiceovers.
He'll mouth voiceover to camera, but it's not as if he's speaking to camera.
Right.
I think maybe he does that a little bit on his second channel, which is Gox Art, but his main channel is really supposed to feel like a voiced over film.
Right.
Which that alone, the voiceover too, miraculous the way that he's able to repeat it the way that
memorize it.
It's crazy.
And it's not like just one line.
No.
He's doing a whole paragraph to camera.
I feel like people who haven't seen Gox before, go watch any of their videos. Your mind will be blown by any one of them. Like throw a dart at that channel, watch anything, you'll just be gobsmacked the entire time. It's crazy what he does.
So what I was going to say earlier is the dichotomy of being so inspired watching it and then feeling so bad about yourself simultaneously.
Yeah.
You're like, this makes me believe I can do anything, and at the same time makes me think I can never achieve anything at all.
Sure, okay.
Anywhere close to this level. So I find myself conflicted watching it these days. Okay. I love watching it, but even more now, every time I watch, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the 12th time I've watched one of those. And each time I'm like, I'm not getting anywhere closer to that. Yeah. So maybe sort of, but I don't know.
That is an interesting paradigm to kind of wrestle with. How much do I consume and be inspired by? And at what point does that inspiration actually become detrimental to my own creativity?
I think it's much more healthy on YouTube.
Okay.
And I think it's much more detrimental on short form. Yeah, I think there's a lot, the rapid nature of short form can just melt your brain in a way where you're just seeing over and over, like multiple dozens, hundreds of people be that successful and be that good in whatever genre. And I feel like seeing the repetition of that, whereas on YouTube, it's like, oh, we have a short list of people but you don't know more than half the people you're scrolling through on Reels or TikTok or whatever.
Right.
And yet you're like, this is so impressive. This is so impressive. But pulling from the population of the world and it's curating it to the best short form art, you're going to get that. And a lot of people aren't willing to take the 12-minute long approach like Gox and Preston does to take an entire month to make something like that, because you can make something of that quality in short form, in a week or a couple days.
Yep.
So I think that's really fascinating.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay. Moving right along. I'm very excited to talk about this channel because it's very, very niche and speaks to a very different part of my interests. And that is a channel called Collector Emitter. There's technically 2 backslashes in between as well. This is a musician who demos guitar pedals and a bunch of different wild effects. All of them, I would say, generally kind of fall within the kind of ambient music / shoegaze kind of territory. There's a lot of crazy reverbs and tremolos and like wild fuzz pedals and drones and like synth pedals and all these really cool effects that I would say kind of transform a guitar into something much more, like more of like a abstract synth type instrument. Very cool, very fun to watch and learn about the pedals. It's very simple. It's for reference, it's usually a top down of the pedal on green screen. So it's kind of this like ethereal moving background as you see the pedal. They, I don't know who actually plays for the channel, but they will go through like different combinations of settings and stuff, and there's no voiceover. It's just text on screen explaining what's going on and what the pedal can do. So it kind of sits in that realm of you could totally watch and learn, or you could just listen to it and it's just beautiful music and it works as like a nice background vibe as you're working or driving into work. It could be used both ways. You want to buy this new pedal, you want to learn about it, see all the functions, do that. If not, just enjoy the music, because they are a very talented guitarist and they always come up with really cool stuff to play and demonstrate through the pedals. I absolutely love it. It's just so fun to watch and learn, and also to listen during a work day. Some of it could be used as like a little going to sleep playlist also. It's lovely. I am obsessed with that channel and will often just kind of put a playlist on and just listen to what's going on. And it applies personally because some of those pedals that I've seen there, I've also purchased because it was a really good demonstration, got to understand exactly what that pedal could be in the context of a song, and then decided to buy it for my own little collection. So I love it. It's really fun.
That astronaut pedal you got last year, is that after you got it?
Yes.
That was a really cool pedal.
Good. Yes. Good.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, that was, that's
so you
actually,
listened to it before. You knew what it sounded like.
I listened to that video that Collector Emitter was demonstrating that pedal for maybe 10 times, because it was just such a good demonstration. And the pedal was so cool. It had so many different sounds that it could produce. That was beautiful. But they're actually, I think the manufacturer of that pedal is actually based in Illinois, funny enough. I don't know where specifically, but they are MAS pedals, M-A-S pedals. And it was the, we're just going to call it the astronaut. It's not what it's called, but
do you remember that pedal?
It's a beautiful,
so cool.
It is so cool. It's a harmonic tremolo
pedal.
And then
really
it has
cool.
this like temporary foot switch that can just create these absurd soundscapes. And there's some reverb and some delay later, and that you can kind of toggle on and off. It's so cool. Great channel though. Yeah, it's very fun.
Cool.
Guitar stream to listen to
I'm
the
feeling
tones and everything.
insecure about my choices. They're just all in the creative realm. Well, that's creative too. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
Our creative realm.
Photo video.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah, I stayed away from photo. I
don't watch.
I don't watch photo video stuff anymore.
It's just random.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
Yeah.
Is I just will watch what's on recommended.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. My second channel is where I got the inspiration for the mukbang video that we did a few years ago.
Okay.
The channel is called Korean Englishman. You guys have heard me talk about this.
Okay.
It's a channel now run by an entire team, but Josh is the guy that's in front of the camera.
Okay.
And really, like the channel started with him and his friend Ali. They have a second. They have multiple channels now, but really trying to introduce British people to Korean culture, because Josh, I believe, studied in China for a little bit, and then he also lived in Korea for a little bit as a university student. And so because of his love for Korean culture, he began introducing to friends and family. And like, I love that kind of stuff. When you're so passionate about something, where you begin to kind of fold in your community into that passion as well. But over the years, as I've watched their videos, they've really grown a lot. They've interviewed David Beckham, Ryan Reynolds, a bunch of celebrities, but their format isn't like hey, tell us more about your film right now. They do it by introducing Korean food or Korean culture or Korean drinks to these guests as they're interviewing them. It's like very fun format.
They did one with Marvel stars. That's Avengers cast.
Yeah,
that's
Tom Holland.
crazy.
Like they've interviewed some really big celebrities,
Whoa.
but what I really like about them right now is they currently run series, and there's these British high school students, probably like 3 years ago, that they started building series around. And then they brought these students to Korea. And now they're currently airing a series where those same students, they brought them to Korea again, but to experience military training.
Yeah.
Because that's what all Korean men have to go through.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. And so like they're going through like Navy SEAL training right now.
Wow.
So it's fun. Like you get insight into a
That's
lot of
crazy.
things that you just wouldn't otherwise see. And also like because I'm Korean too, I just have an affinity towards Korean culture. So it's been really fun to like keep up with like food culture and like slang, things that I don't have access to outside of the internet. But they're fun. So,
I'm sure they're so popular in Korea.
They're celebrities. Like if they walk around anywhere, people recognize who they are.
Yeah.
And Josh is fluent in Koreans, and he's married to a Korean person. So, yeah, that's my second channel.
That's awesome. That's very cool. They also have 6 million subscribers.
Yeah.
And they have a channel called Jolly where they just do ridiculous stuff. Their whole thing right now with Jolly for the past like 6 months or a year is like going to Michelin star restaurants and just like talking about the food. It's hilarious because they're goons.
Wait, like talking at the restaurant, talking about the food, like in a good way or a bad way?
Both. It's really funny.
Yeah,
they're these guys who are goons, but they're talking about like caviar, and they're like, "Oh, this tastes like, oh," and then Josh is like, "Oh, you can't say that," and stuff like that. So it's just
awesome.
they're really fun.
Very cool. I like that. Korean Englishmen. Cool.
They're guys who live in the UK, but I guess there's a UK theme going on.
Yeah, what the heck, dude?
I don't know.
Got to rep the States.
I guess.
Cool.
Can I do twofold
You can.
on one?
We have to talk to the council about that.
Oh.
Yeah, he said yes.
As I was sipping my coffee. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, because I feel like I like both of these equally, but
Okay.
for very different reasons.
Interesting, okay.
I wasn't going to go the running route, but I will now because you guys are going into different genres.
Are you diverting from your original plan?
Yeah. I didn't think it would be interesting enough, but I feel like there's a good angle here from the creative perspective.
Yeah.
Even.
The whole point of this is to share more about ourselves as people.
Okay,
So,
cool.
Yeah.
So I like running. I run a lot.
Whoa.
Yeah. I don't know if I
Did you know that?
Yeah.
What?
Sorry,
It's
did
my
you
first
know
time
that? That's crazy.
So Kofuzi, Michael Ko, he's probably one of the most watched channels in the running YouTube world.
Okay.
If not the most.
Where is he at Subways? I have no idea.
Almost 200,000.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I feel like he deserves so much more than that.
Yeah.
But the running space is a little different too.
He's a genius.
And he is based in Chicago.
The suburbs,
Or
right?
in the
Yeah,
suburbs.
suburb, northwest.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Far northwest.
Cool.
Yeah, so he does a ton of shoe reviews. I'm not as much into the shoe review stuff. That has a lot of similarities with the camera review stuff, which I don't usually watch either. What I do love watching are anytime he has a race vlog, I'm watching that. Like it's just so fun. He carries a GoPro every single race he runs throughout the entire marathon. So that's super fun. But then he also does these series called it's like a race weekend or runner's weekend is what he calls it. So it's wherever he's going. So around Boston, he did an entire runner's weekend where he features all the pop-ups and
cool.
just more of the culture of whatever's happening in the running world there. And so it's this really docu-series style. And he's just really good at storytelling, really good at voiceover, really good at reoccurring characters and all that stuff. So the documentary side of me loves that so much. And then especially since it's in a niche that I love, it's just great. And self-admittedly, and he's in our documentary, we interviewed him for Moving Still, which was really cool. it's really interesting to see his take on himself because he doesn't. I went on his podcast and he's like, I don't consider myself an artist or whatever. And I'm just like,
interesting.
Except you are. Like, you got to give yourself more credit. You might. Yeah. He's colorblind, so he's like, I don't know. I just everything's in standard picture profile. He's 30 frames per second pretty much all the time. He's like, I don't really care to do that. And so personally, that's why I saw, I'm like, oh, well, I could make something in this niche that's very different with my filmmaking background.
For sure.
But yeah, he's loved and adored. Everyone knows him. Every shakeout run, there's hundreds of people lining the streets. So then similar but different is Nick Bear's channel. Not just because I'm sponsored by BPN, but I am just blown away by what the BPN media team has been doing recently. So much so that, I mean, they're using like Columbia Records music because they don't care for getting copyright strikes because they're selling supplement products and they're like, who cares about the ad revenue? So they're just like putting the Foo Fighters on and Nirvana and like,
wild.
It's awesome.
That's crazy.
It's like, it's just so sick. And everyone in the comments is just like, who is picking this music? It is so legendary.
Yeah.
So, and it's just so mixed media, and it's from the filmmaking creative standpoint, it's so fun to watch that niche in that way.
Absolutely.
It's just super epic. So, and I guess, I mean, Nick is like 6-7 times the size of Kofuzi. He's like over 1 million subs. So yeah, but it's also lifting as well. So it's the hybrid athlete.
Yep.
His camera presence is insane too. Like he's so good at talking to camera.
Yeah, he's been doing it for 10 years
He's
now.
so good at it.
That's how he started. So, and I love seeing someone like that still, you know, like from time to time I'm around Nick and he'll just pick up a Sony mirrorless and it's fun to watch him. Like you're just not expecting to see someone like him vlog.
Be fluent in that world.
He's just like getting his settings right, flip the camera.
That's wild.
And then he talks to camera and you're just like, oh yeah, you do that regularly. Like I've seen it in the videos all the time, but then seeing it in real life, you're like, whoa, you know, because you're just expecting him to be in front of a camera and like doing something athletic. Yeah.
Yep. No, his channel is unbelievable, and the whole team that contributes to it has grown immensely over the years, and their recent stuff it's awesome. Truly incredible. Yeah. Like those videos are amazing.
I'm so excited. I have the opportunity to go down to Austin next week and watch the Speed Project movie they made, which is over
I'm sure that's
an hour
gonna be
long.
That's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be so cool. Like that's a feature length thing suddenly, which is crazy. Do you know if they have any intention to like submit it anywhere?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I thought it was just going to be a 15-minute YouTube video.
Right.
And it's an hour-long movie.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to go in without any expectations and just see what it's like.
Happens. Yeah.
Because, I had the opportunity to be on that team, but it didn't line up with Boston. So now I'm just like, maybe next year we'll see. Yeah.
Very cool. Sick. Awesome. Moving on to my now, we'll call this third channel, The Iron Snail.
Ooh,
is
what
the name of the channel?
Is that?
Yeah.
That's a cool name,
It
though.
is a cool name.
It is good.
So The Iron Snail is a YouTube channel run by a fella named Michael Christie. He is in the menswear space. So the whole channel is about different interesting products, like lifestyle stuff that I have been really into for a very long time, probably 10 years now. You know, denim, boots, jackets, just like well-made things. The reason, though, that I like his channel specifically on this stuff, because I actually don't watch that type of content on YouTube outside of him, is for two reasons. One, his camera presence is insane. He is so good on camera. He's so funny, charismatic, extremely goofy. He leans into all of the mistakes so hard. I'm trying to think of good examples. Like one of more recent videos, he was doing like, I think, spring or summer outfits or something like that. He was just talking about different products. And he recorded the whole video, and then as he was editing it, realized that he actually didn't like the way he looked in most of the clothing because he bought like the wrong size for some of these things. And so he just interrupted himself as he was doing the video over and over and over again as like the editor, Michael, saying like, here's what I would change about this outfit actually. And then with his iPad drew lines about like, he pointed things out, like this should fit better here and better here. And here's the size I would have bought instead. And it was just hilarious that he found a way to make a video that I think a lot of people would have scrapped because they're like, I presented it wrong or whatever. And he's like, no, I'm going to make that an element to the video now and just lean into it and still make something out of this thing. I just think his spirit is very admirable. He's very fun to watch on camera. I think if you even if you don't care at all about this genre, you'll still love watching him because he's just so likable. It's you just want to root for him. It's awesome. He's hilarious. And then the second reason that I like him so much is because he goes much further beyond just talking about clothing. He will often do very deep dives into the history behind a lot of the design choices behind certain pieces of clothing. So instead of saying like, oh, I'm talking about this like $600 down jacket, he's like, no, I'm going to tell you why during World War II, they made these certain like stitching choices or why they like put the fabric in the way that they did and loaded up down this way versus the way it's done now. Like all these like very little nuanced things that I find fascinating. And he has so much good evidence and so much good research in the videos that it's like a journey and you learn so much during it. And it's just really fun. I just, especially from like the designer perspective, I'm like, this is really fascinating. And I love watching it. It's very fun.
Super cool.
Yeah, I think you guys would love it, even if you don't give a rip about it. It really is one of those channels that I think it's just fun to watch for that person, and then everything else that comes with it is also enjoyable, also entertaining, and then like valuable too. Like you come out learning something in the end, which is really cool. I think.
For all three of your channels, are those all? If a video comes up, you're stopping and watching it. Are you regularly watching every video on all three of those?
Yes.
Okay.
I am regularly watching. I think Preston's the only one that I will drop everything to watch. Collector Emitter and Iron Snail, I both watch all of the videos, but I'm a little more flexible with it. I think especially because actually with Preston, it's fun to watch in a group context. And so when that comes up during the middle of a workday here, it feels very fun to enjoy it all together because it feels like we're all like tuning into a TV show together. With Collector Emitter and Iron Snail, it feels a little more like personally geared, and I prefer to enjoy that on my own time, just later on in a day.
Do you tend to watch a lot of your stuff on the weekends, in the evenings, outside of work?
Good question. I would say it's a mix of during the workday as a little break from whatever's going on, or in the evenings. Typically not on weekends. I'd say weekends is a little more of like an unplugged time. I'll maybe watch like one or two videos in the evening, but I don't watch, for all these channels and as much as I love them, I don't watch a ton of YouTube.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the ones that I'm most interested in right now, which is these three. Yeah. And Preston, only uploads once or twice a month.
Right.
Iron Snail is maybe once a week. I think Collector Emitter is kind of whenever a new pedal comes out. And that one is primarily one I just listen to anyway. Right. So that is easy to put on during the workday. So I would say it varies, but it's like half and half between weekday nights and then work days.
And follow-up question, how many podcasts are you listening to weekly?
Consistently weekly, probably there's three that I'm like, those daily uploads, or not, sorry, daily, but like when they come out on the day that they come out is like an instant listen for me. So that's Monday, Friday, and what's the other day? I think it's 2 on Monday, 1 on Friday. So a nice like commute in, always can count on that being there, which is nice. I actually have gotten in the habit now of listening, which sounds conceited, to our own show on the way in, because I think there is a lot of value in listening to ourselves do this and then taking notes on it mentally and then getting better and improving in the future. So,
or just referencing things we've already talked about.
That too. Yeah. It's good to keep all this fresh.
I just do it on 2 times speed most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I'm like, I don't want to actually listen, but like I want to learn and get better, but I don't want to like actually listen to us talk for an hour about something that we just talked about. So yeah, that's the Iron Snail.
Nice. Wait, does he ever address why the channel name, why it's Iron Snail?
Yes, he does, and I don't know the story off the top of my head, but it is on his website.
It's such a good name. I've never heard a name like it's such a good name.
It is very good. I think if you give me like half a second, that's all I needed. It has to do with a deep sea creature. Oh, actually, yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is fascinating. I'd heard snippets of the story before, but Michael was scuba diving, and he was at the bottom of the ocean, and he saw a small creature that covers itself in iron for protection, and it was a snail.
Whoa! Did
not know that was a literal iron snail, which is
That's
Very
cool.
Actually. Yeah. So that is the meaning behind the name. That's a little graphic for it too. It's cute. It's a cute little guy.
Yep.
Can I see the top one again?
Yeah. It's a cute little guy.
Oh, that's cool.
He does make his own clothing now too, which
I
is
figured
cool.
if it says Clothing Co.
Yeah.
My third channel is Lance Hendrick. That's the name of the YouTuber. He works at Onyx Coffee. Honestly, he's kind of polarizing in that like some people don't like his camera presence.
Okay.
And because like he can be like very YouTubey sometimes.
Okay.
But the reason why
Coffee's too cool
oh maybe I don't know.
to be YouTubey. Do you feel like there's that stigma in this niche?
In coffee?
In third wave coffee?
Yes and no. I think he probably does it a little more than most people. There's a lot of coffee people I follow, whether it's short form or YouTube. Like James Hoffman does not have that presence. So like well scripted, so informative, so knowledgeable, but he also makes videos less frequently.
Yeah.
And less topical and like the specific things I'm more interested in within the coffee world currently. The reason why I like Lance's videos a lot is he balances really well the analytical technical part of coffee. Like a lot of like flow charts and graphs, but then also dumbs it down for, I think even like your very casual coffee drinkers. But a lot of what I know about like espresso, what grinders to buy, how to mod certain machines, different like what's current in like brewers and servers and all these things is really because of his channel. But yeah, I think like my interest in coffee as it has kind of like exponentially grown over the past couple of years, his channel is one that I paid more attention to. And he's like very knowledgeable. He's in the industry, but his whole thing is like he's not pretentious, and that's I think coffee gets that less than like not so much like YouTubey or like so like internety, but I do think coffee gets pretentious very fast. And his whole thing is like he tries to demystify a lot of things. And he's also like, it's just coffee. Drink it how you want to drink it. It's subjective still. Like don't let people tell you how to make your coffee. So I like that approach a lot because coffee can be very analytical. And yet like at the end of the day, kind of like food, it's very subjective. It's very relative. But I've learned a lot from his channel.
That's cool. We, just for the context of the viewers and listeners, Onyx is one of our favorite roasters. What role, do you say Lance or Lance?
Lance.
Lance. What is his role at Onyx?
I don't actually know.
Okay. He just works there in some capacity.
Yeah, there's a few, actually it's crazy. There's a few people, Morgan also works at Onyx.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yep.
She also works at Onyx.
Does she really? Oh, okay, nice.
And then there's a guy, he's a filmmaker there. I believe he's not like employed by Onyx, but his name is Johnny.
Yeah.
He's probably interacted with you guys before too. Huge fan of like Creative Club.
Oh, sweet.
Follows Rally Caps, but
that's cool.
He does a lot of their filmmaking photo work.
Sick.
Very sick.
Yeah.
What's Morgan's handle again? Morgan drinks
coffee, I think.
Yeah, okay, yeah. They are
And she also
cool
is like,
well.
was a past barista champion, very well versed in like latte art, stuff like that. But
didn't Jimmy just make a video with her at the expo? And very cool.
And he also, with his podcast, he's also interviewed her.
That's awesome.
I just pulled up Jimmy's channel in that.
Jimmy, I love Jimmy's stuff too. Like Jimmy doesn't, he doesn't post very often though, and I still view him more as like a short form creator, where that's where he thrives. But yeah, Lance is I've learned a lot about coffee through his channel.
I'm gonna dip into his stuff because that sounds really cool. I really enjoyed James as well, but I think it'd be cool to have like a slightly different take because you're right. James is very analytical, very long form, and very well scripted.
Yeah,
I'd be interested to see what that world is like with a slightly different approach.
I like those two together.
Okay,
for me, like that's well rounded. If you watch Lance Hendrick and then James Hoffman together, like for me, it's well balanced. Cool. I think like one or the other sometimes can get a little boring or like too in the weeds, but I watch both pretty consistently.
Excellent. Eric,
last one.
Let's do it.
The one I feel most comfortable with is Danny Gewurz.
Oh, duh. Danny, hi, buddy.
Yeah. Because there are other ones that I have on the list, but I don't feel like I watch enough of their stuff because I'm so just watching a lot of random things on YouTube. And so Danny's just been that constant. Again, I resonate with Gene on not watching a ton in the photo filmmaking creative space much anymore. But yeah, Danny's just always a safe bet in that niche. with delivering on value or meaning or beauty. And yeah, I mean, we've had him on the show, obviously. We're friends with him. Steven just did some design work for his final in-person premiere at the LA screening for his film. So yeah, I mean, he's just near and dear to us. And more than just what he makes, it's who he is. And that just seeps through in everything that he does. It's so intentional. It's so kind. And yeah, he's just, again, one of those people, he talks to camera and you're like, how can you not like this guy? So that would be my last one.
Yep. Danny is the best. I think we've done 2 episodes with him on Rally Caps, which is great. We photographed his wedding almost 2 years ago now, which was so much fun. He and Anna are such a delight. And Sansa. Can't forget Sansa. The 3 of them are just, radiate so much love and positivity and very real, down-to-earth people.
Yeah.
I think that's, like you said, the kind of the personality that he gives off on YouTube, which he's talked about, too, how he had to kind of get to a place where he was comfortable being that person rather than when he first started out, which was very inspired by Peter McKinnon and the loud
vloggy
presence, which is so funny to look back and watch some of those early on videos. He actually, to shout out another friend, Tom Boyd, Danny and Tom made a video together on Danny's channel where Tom effectively just roasted him on some of his early videos where he's like, dude, what are you doing right now? This is not who my boy Danny is. Like, this is just, it's so funny to see the evolution of Danny just feeling more and more comfortable. And now he's loved for the calm, sincere presence that he brings, which is very different from a lot of other channels within that realm. And it's cool that he leaned into something that made him different, so to speak.
It feels like that's how you cut through these days on the platform is just, I mean, how can you, if you have some sort of, as far as personality goes, like how can you communicate something that is likable about you instead of trying to be someone else?
Yeah.
It's not, how can you communicate what's likable that you aren't?
Yeah.
But maybe a part of your personality that people do resonate with, do find entertaining, can connect with. That's a really hard thing to evaluate. For yourself, like to critique your own person. Like that's, I don't know, it's emotionally weird. Psychologically strange. It's the internet, you know?
Yeah.
Emotionally weird and psychologically strange. The internet.
Yeah.
That feels like a pretty good encapsulation of what the internet is.
Yeah.
I feel like we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Carlo also as a little tag on to Danny because they have a very similar presence online, Carlo being even more zen. And he's just so absurdly talented. I feel like we all look up to him immensely for his work ethic and his talent as a DP.
And his muscles.
For sure, his muscles.
I love that. Him and I are kind of blood brothers in a sense that we love talking about finance too.
Yes.
So we like really bonded about that in real life. And those are the ones I like watching the most on his channel when he starts breaking down some of the financial stuff, some of his business moves. I think that's super cool. In a world where people really struggle to have consistent income and DP work. So, makes it very realistic for a lot of people.
And he was the DP for Danny's feature.
Correct.
If that was not made clear. So, dynamic duo they are.
Can we give a couple more?
Let's do like a little rapid fire honorable mentions here at the end of the episode. Do you guys have any off the top of your heads?
I have 2 more.
Great.
Life of Riza, I will reference one from like the filmmaking space because I still watch photo video stuff, but like she popped off like a year ago. Her storytelling, and she's mentioned it too, but like her intentionality is like to me next level. So good at like scripting and planning and editing too. And then someone I recently found, his channel name is Tatsuki. He's Japanese. He's an Australian, but he makes a lot of videos. Reminds me a lot of like our early YouTube. About like he used to talk about film photography, not so much anymore. More about filmmaking now and freelance work and like very a lifestyle approach where I will say those are more the channels that have my attention right now. it's more about like me following the people and how they talk about things as opposed to like the actual subject itself. But he's a channel that I've been kind of binging recently. Cool. Small channel still, but really fun to watch.
Do you know how to spell his name?
TATSUKI.
TATSUKI. I think. Wait, hang on. I feel
his
like I
videos
know.
are very fun. He's been posting weekly now, but yeah, like I like this wave of photographers and filmmakers, how they incorporate their life. So it's not so much like a day in the life, but it's not just like, here, let me talk about this camera for 10 minutes in a talking head. Actually, he like rarely does that, and I like that a lot.
I have, I think I've talked with him on Instagram before because I recognized his handle Have No Tats. No,
he's fun. Someone that I've been like following recently.
Cool.
So those are like some photo video shout outs.
Very cool.
Nice.
Still watch them.
To bandwagon off of photo video shout outs specifically, our friend Teo Crawford.
Oh,
his videos
he's the
are
GOAT.
Goodness.
He's popped off too.
Yeah. I mean, so rightfully. I mean, his videos are so peaceful, so calm, so good. He has one of the best voices I've ever heard. He should, Teo, if you're listening to this, you should narrate like a children's book or some kind of like the Calm app, you know, like the people that come on for like voiceover stuff for like going to bed at night. He's got the richest, most wonderful voice, and his work as a photographer is spectacular. He's so wonderful.
He's also like, the thing I like about Teo's videos the most is he doesn't talk about Leica M6s, Mamiya 7s.
Yeah.
He's using like such affordable, accessible cameras.
Yeah.
He's using like an old Sony camera to film stuff and like incredibly talented photographer, but also his voiceovers he does with the little Rode Micro.
Yeah, which shows how deep his voice is.
Yeah. And he's obviously like treating it, but like to do that kind of audio with that little thing with a little cable attached to his camera is like next level.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Incredibly talented. Yeah. I have others, but that are not in the photo video world. Do you have any others?
Ser.
Oh, Ser's. Yeah, he's good.
Yep.
SERR. Ser.
Yep.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That's about it. Yeah, it's like, it's just so good.
Ser.
He's like Gawk's level to me, just like in the filmmaking space,
so young, so talented.
Yeah.
Just will be a Hollywood director one day.
Yeah.
Incredibly talented.
Yeah.
I think he and Gawks are buds also. I've seen
they
them
were on a
in
trip
photos
recently,
together.
I think.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to spit off a few more. Drew Gooden. Going very different realm
and
of
Cody.
YouTube. In the commentary space on YouTube of Viners turned YouTubers, Drew is just hilarious. There's a lot of people within that space. Drew has been a standout favorite of mine for a long time. Van Neistat as well, who I guess is like kind of video photo adjacent, but much more in the, I think, DIY, almost like short film with a philosophical twist kind of world. Also love, this is very out of pocket and very different. Handler is his name. He's a Call of Duty player.
Oh, nice. Isn't that Grandpa? It's not the Grandpa.
No, it's not the Grandpa. No, Handler, he's absolutely absurd. He's specifically like Search and Destroy was like his thing.
Got it.
If you ever played Search and Destroy, but like he's very, very good. And it's kind of fun to like go back to that every now and then and scratch the itch of, like Call of Duty, like gaming type stuff. It's not something I frequent as much anymore, but it's fun to dip back into every now and again. And then also Digital Spaghetti, which is the YouTube channel that Jack Conte,
got it.
formerly or currently a
It sounded
Patreon.
familiar, yeah.
Currently, yeah. He basically, it's a really cool format. He had Riza on recently.
I watched
Gawks
that.
on
Oh,
recently.
that's that channel.
That's what that is. He has like the headsets
and
with
they're
the
basically
mics built
talking
in.
about a video together.
It's
or the
more
channel.
or less a breakdown, like an editing style breakdown kind of interview kind of show. So yeah, I think Gawks is on recently. Riza was on recently. He's had wonderful filmmakers on, and it's literally like taking one specific video or a few different scenes from different videos and breaking down how they made that happen, the lighting behind it, the technical stuff behind it, all that good stuff. Very informative, very fun also because Jack's presence is just awesome. His energy is amazing.
Yeah.
And he chooses really good people to have on and highlight. So Digital Spaghetti.
Nice.
I'm going to write those things down while you guys think of other names to say out loud.
I have a ton that I watched in the credit card space. Ben Hedges used to be called Credit Card Shifu, and then Ask Sebi, and then Max Miles. Those are like 3 YouTubers in the credit card space I still watch, especially when there's news within the credit card space.
Can you say those names one more time?
Yeah, Ben Hedges
Ben Hedges.
Ask Sebi.
Ask Sebi.
And then Max Miles.
Max Miles.
Yeah.
Miles Morales. Amazing.
Miles Morales.
Okay. Anything else?
One more running one.
Cool.
Philly Bowden.
Spell that for me.
Philly
ILY.
Bowden.
Excellent.
She's based out of UK. She's elite, and she's just absolutely hysterical.
Sick.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just like goofy as all get out.
Love that. Okay.
Like,
very cool.
Yeah. We'll talk about like crapping her pants on a run.
Oh, excellent.
Kinda, yeah.
Very good. Okay, cool.
That kind of
I like
vibe
that.
where she's like not afraid of anything.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Like, yeah.
I don't watch running stuff normally, but one runner's videos I do watch when it pops up is Nico.
Yeah.
I watch his
Felich.
videos sometimes. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I saw his short form stuff when he was on
Betrayal.
on TikTok in college still, and then his like. Yeah. Anyways.
You went to college with
Do
him?
you know that we're like buds?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen you guys do like he was in Chicago and everything, and
Yeah.
you guys were on the thing together.
Yeah. He's a BPN athlete
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
We'll see him next week.
Yeah.
You said Nico, right?
Nico, right?
Yeah.
Is it Nico? Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's impressive. Everyone
And-
calls him Nico.
Yeah.
And ICO?
Yeah. Nico Felich.
Nico.
He's like the king of short form on YouTube.
His channel blew up too.
Yeah.
Short form king.
Oh. Is he short?
No.
Yeah.
Dang, it would have been better if he was short, but short form king. Okay, before I attempt to read back everything that we just did and
gosh.
recap all of that, because it was
So
a lot,
many.
we'll just give a quick plug. If you like this episode, please rate and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube right now, thanks for being here. Hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment down below with this week's something little keyword. Actually, no. We'll say this. Just put your favorite YouTuber.
Yeah. Yes.
That makes more sense.
That's great.
We're going to abandon the hyphen this week. If you made it to the end of this episode, please list your favorite YouTuber or YouTubers that you've been enjoying lately. And let's start that conversation in the comments below. Here we go. To recap this episode, we chatted about, and again, all these all these channels are linked in the description below. Preston Goes, Top Jaw, Gawks, Collector Emitter, Korean Englishman, Kofuzi, Nick Bear, The Iron Snail, Lance Hendrick, James Hoffman, Morgan Drinks Coffee, Jimmy the Barista, Danny Gewurz, Carlos Stigliano, Life of Riza, Tatsuki, Teo Crawford, Sayre, Drew Gooden, Handler, Digital Spaghetti, Van Neistat, Ben Hedges, Ask Sebi, Max Miles, and Philly Bowden.
So I guess we watch a lot of YouTube then. We're like, no, we don't. I guess we do.
Some of these were quick references, but
Yeah.
I want to include just everything that we talked about in this episode, all the names, all the friends, all the good people making good stuff for the internet, which is a place that is emotionally confusing and psychologically
Strange.
Strange, yeah.
That's so accurate.
That's so good. Amazing. We love you all. Thanks for being here. We will see you in next week's episode.
Bye-bye.